Hello, I'm Justin Hart, and I will be doing my persuasive speech arguing for nonviolent protest. Nonviolent protest is a storied hobby of revolutionaries, whether it be through monetary damage, through boycotting, damage by political threats to the status quo, or the written word by way of petition and newspaper. Nonviolent protests have advanced mankind through some of the toughest social changes we've faced. With monetary threats, you can see something like boycotting, which is the act of refusing to interact socially or economically with an entity, thereby punishing them. Whereas violent protesters would attack a storefront and damage property, this way of nonviolent protest hits the business where it hurts, in their wallet, and ensures a long-lasting crippling effect of even the biggest businesses. Another form of monetary threat is to clog up business, either through wasting paperwork and time for the employees, taking up seats and discouraging businesses, or holding a sit-in where a socially unacceptable practice is done in order to discourage customers. How effective these tactics are really depends on how willing a protester is to be defamed, harmed, and jailed. A good example would be when the Standing Rock Sioux blocked the oil field pipeline, facing private security forces peacefully that launched gas canisters directly at people, doused them in frozen water, and sicked dogs on them. Attacking individual entities with violence may provide a short-term win, but gumming up the works and hurting an entity in their wallet is often the best way to stake the heart of a beast you want to slay. With political campaigning and media, you can use the media, specifically the kind that opposes in a factual way an entity in power, as an important piece of the puzzle of revolution. In colonial America, there was the newspaper Public Occurrences, or in the 60s, it was Muhammad Speaks. Subversive publications like an early Boston-based magazine shut down for speaking truth to power, or the newspaper that redefined what it meant to be black, and created a strong, thriving Muslim community among downtrodden, poor black people. Today, it's whatever social media account can garner support for its cause. With the help of media, one can hopefully campaign and primary out those in power, surely and slowly changing the political landscape of whatever world you're trying to change. A violent protest, which would just kill or harm one figurehead that someone didn't like, and give rise to another person within the same party, and give a martyr to the opposition to your cause, just wouldn't work. The systematic spreading of truth and editorial is more valuable to the masses than bullets or guns. It gives them power. Petitions are another form of written word, a written request to either do or not do something. In the world of protest, it's a way to make those in power aware of your opposition. There's nothing a petition does by itself. There's no legal rules for it. But it often works better than simply calling or emailing. And it gives people in power a number as to how many of their constituents want or need a certain service. And if the representative isn't corrupt, then they will listen to their constituents and do what they're asked. If the representative is, then the people know about it because they signed the petition and nothing happened, and they have the power to vote them out of office. Civil disobedience is one of America's favorite things to do. With civil disobedience, primarily the kind whose principles were defined by Thoreau in the essays on civil disobedience, written after he spent a night in jail for refusing to pay a war tax, is the idea that if you resist, if you speak truth to power, and if you stand against laws you believe to be wrong, then you must be willing to pay the consequences for it. If you make enough noise, you disobey enough ordinances, and you do it with enough people, you can change laws for the sheer sake of easing the headache it puts on those in power. In an effective way, nonviolent protesters can affect change either through No Immigrants Day or sitting in front of a bus station and not getting on in Jim Crow laws to protest Jim Crow laws. People who used civil disobedience to make it less convenient to keep laws the way they were really hit on a sore spot for politicians, which is that they don't want the extra work, the headache, and often just changing the law would be the easier solution. The work put in by protesters should always, always skirt legality. If you're not willing to break the law, break the norm, then no one will notice you. If you just stand outside of a public building waving a sign, you're a nuisance, and nobody cares. And if you start a riot, then you're a thug or you're an animal. The only happy medium is one that shows your resolve in a way that can't be construed as violent, and that often means just being a real thorn. Protest is one of our most treasured traditions, and the best way yet found to make dissent known without hurting people. America was formed in the violence and destruction that comes with war, but its founders understood the importance of protest, and America's held some of the greatest bloodless revolutions that we've ever been party to as a species. Stuff that really lives up to the people who worked hard to make change and help the oppressed, such as Mandela's work in South Africa to ease apartheid and Gandhi's hunger strike in British India. We really do go farther by simply making our voices heard rather than raising our hands against each other. Thank you for your time.